Dramatic structure is the structure of a dramatic work such as a play or film. Many scholars have analyzed dramatic structure, beginning with Aristotle in his Poetics. This article focuses primarily on Gustav Freytag's analysis of ancient Greek and Shakespearean drama. History. In his Poetics, the Greek philosopher Aristotle put forth the idea that a whole is what has a beginning and middle and end. This three-part view of a plot structure prevailed until the Roman drama critic Horace advocated a five-act structure in his Ars Poetica, ne minor nucid quinto productior acta fabula. Renaissance dramatists revived the use of the eight-act structure, citation needed. In 1863, around the time that playwrights like Henrik Ibsen were abandoning the five-act structure and experimenting with three- and four-act plays, the German playwright and novelist Gustav Freytag wrote Die Technik des Dramas, a definitive study of the five-act dramatic structure, in which he laid out what has come to be known as Freytag's pyramid. Under Freytag's pyramid, the plot of a story consists of five parts: exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and our copyright nouement revelation catastrophe. Freytag's analysis. According to Freytag, a drama is divided into five parts, or acts, which some refer to as a dramatic arc: exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and our copyright nouement. Although Freytag's analysis of dramatic structure is based on five-act plays, it can be applied to short stories and novels as well, making dramatic structure a literary element. Nonetheless, the pyramid is not always easy to use, especially in modern plays such as Alfred Urry's Driving Miss Daisy, which is actually divided into 25 scenes without concrete acts. Exposition. The exposition is the portion of a story that introduces important background information to the audience. For example, information about the setting, events occurring before the main plot, characters' backstories, etc. Exposition can be conveyed through dialogues, flashbacks, characters' thoughts, background details, in-universe media, or the narrator telling a backstory. Rising action. In the rising action, a series of related incidents build towards the point of greatest interest. The rising action of a story is the series of events that begin immediately after the exposition of the story and builds up to the climax. These events are generally the most important parts of the story since the entire plot depends on them to set up the climax, and ultimately the satisfactory resolution of the story itself. Climax or crisis. The climax is the turning point, which changes the protagonist unregistered trademark's fate. If the story is a comedy, things will have gone badly for the protagonist up to this point. Now, the plot will begin to unfold in his or her favor, often requiring the protagonist to draw on hidden inner strengths. If the story is a tragedy, the opposite state of affairs will ensue, with things going from good to bad for the protagonist, often revealing the protagonist's hidden weaknesses. Falling action. During the falling action, the conflict between the protagonist and the antagonist unravels, with the protagonist winning or losing against the antagonist. The falling action may contain a moment of final suspense, in which the final outcome of the conflict is in doubt. Der copyright nouement, resolution, revelation or catastrophe. The der copyright nouement comprises events from the end of the falling action to the actual ending scene of the drama or narrative. Conflicts are resolved, creating normality for the characters and a sense of catharsis, or release of tension and anxiety, for the reader. Etymologically, the French word der copyright nouement is derived from the Old French word desnouer, to untie, from nidus, Latin for knot. It is the unraveling or untying of the complexities of a plot. The comedy ends with a der copyright nouement, in which the protagonist is better off than at the story's outset. The tragedy ends with a catastrophe, in which the protagonist is worse off than at the beginning of the narrative. Exemplary of a comic der copyright nouement is the final scene of Shakespearean unregistered trademark's comedy As You Like It, in which couples marry, an evildoer repents, two disguised characters are revealed for all to see, and a ruler is restored to power. In Shakespeare's tragedies, the der copyright nouement is usually the death of one or more characters. Criticism. Freytag's analysis was intended to apply to ancient Greek and Shakespearean drama, not modern drama. A specific exposition stage is criticized by Lajos Agri in The Art of Dramatic Writing. He states, exposition itself is part of the whole play, and not simply a fixture to be used at the beginning and then discarded. According to Agri, the actions of a character reveal who he/she is, and exposition should come about naturally within the play, beginning with the initial conflict. Contemporary dramas increasingly use the fall to increase the relative height of the climax and dramatic impact. The protagonist reaches up but falls and succumbs to doubts, fears, and limitations. The negative climax occurs when the protagonist has an epiphany and encounters the greatest fear possible or loses something important, giving the protagonist the courage to take on another obstacle. This confrontation becomes the classic climax. See also, Jo Hakai dramatic arc in Japanese aesthetics, Kishitan Ketsu, a structural arrangement used in traditional Chinese and Japanese narratives, literary element, narrative transportation, plot, sonata form, three-act structure, references. External links, English translation of Freytag's Die Technik des Dramas, Another View on Dramatic Structure, Poetry Unregistered Trademark S. Write with a Three-Act Structure by Yves Lavandier, author of Writing Drama, Other Scholarly Analyses, Poetics, by Aristotle, European Theories of the Drama, edited by Barrett H. Clark, The New Art of Writing Plays, by Lope de Vega, The Drama. Its Laws and Its Technique, by Elizabeth Woodbridge Morris, The Technique of the Drama, by W. T. Price, The Analysis of Play Construction and Dramatic Principle, by W. T. Price, The Law of the Drama, by Ferdinand Brunesheri, Playmaking, A Manual of Craftsmanship, by William Archer, Dramatic Technique, by George Pierce Baker, Theory and Technique of Playwriting, by John Howard Lawson, Writing Drama by Yves Lavandier.